Hello, Pisces. Thank you so much for being here. I love you guys, and I hope all of you are doing well. All right, Pisces. So this week from Lay Vampire, you pulled transgression, flaws, contradictions, and mistake. And then from Chakra Wisdom, you pulled quest. Now, what I feel like here is that the only mistake that you made was thinking that your life was happening somewhere else. Now, with transgression, it is saying that it's time to make amends, take stock, assess, and redirect, right? Redirect and come back into harmony with the voice of your own soul. But again, I don't feel like you made any major mistakes here. I just think that it has to do with the fact that, you think that your life doesn't have meaning right now. The very first quote for Quest says, "When I am somewhere else, my life will have meaning." And that's not true, right? Your power is in the moment. This is taking an unnecessary quest, right? And you needing to do some all right, Pisces. Here is your overall for the week. The Hierophant. Wow. Now, with the Hierophant being the signifier, we can be talking about, you needing to stick to traditions. It could be needing to stick to the traditions within your faith, whatever that faith is. Some of you are needing to find faith, right? Because the Hierophant with the fives, it's about, getting that spiritual understanding, right? But, I get so many different feelings around him. We're going to have to see how he plays out. But I feel like you guys are really trying to get, spiritually grounded more so than anything else. Because the Hierophant and Pisces, I mean, yeah, you're talking about Taurus with the Hierophant, but I really think this is about what you're doing for you. When you talk about Pisces, the pull is between the physical and the spiritual. It's not like Gemini where it's, the duality and the personality. You guys struggle between, being in the spiritual and then being in the physical. So for some of you, it may be needing to get faith. But then the other thing too with the Hierophant, it could be about commitments, but we'll see here. Oh, shit. Now, in the past, the Tower, right? So you've already been through that. That's over and done with, right? And I have not seen that this week. You guys are the first ones to pull this. The Tower, so having something happen abruptly, but it really is about getting rid of all the fake bullshit, fake people, fake stuff, just gone, right? But what are you doing now? The Tower for me is one of those cards where, depending on what's going on, I look at it as, is this something that is happening to you, or are you making this happen? Did you make the realization that some shit's got to go, right? But it's saying that it's abrupt, that it was abrupt. Now, and you're not willing to give up here. And the Nine of Wands, I mean, of course you've been put through it, right? But you're protecting what is important to you. You're not willing to give up. There's persistence there. And I think that you may be struggling a little bit, and I can understand being wore out from that kind of shit, right? Especially with things just being boom, Future conditions, what I like about this is that you're going to get closure. You are getting closure on this. Wow, Pisces. So the world is the end of the majors. It is about the completion, the successful completion, right? The major completion that is happening, But I think that more so than anything, you're getting closure on something in a really big way here that is going to help you move forward. And the Hierophant, right? It's like you're coming out of these difficulties now in a major way, I'm curious as to see what's going on here. Your best path to follow, the Page of Wands, and I like him. I'm really liking him this week. The Page of Wands is all about, going forward with enthusiasm and excitement, regardless of lack of life experience. That is the Page of Wands. For some of you, it's needing to act on really good news that may be coming through, because I always see him as, this is the messenger of really good news, right? The Page of Swords is really bad news, so this is the total opposite here. But this one too, for me, is really close to the Fool. But it's not a thing of faith here. It's about passion and enthusiasm and being excited for your life, right? Oh, in your environment, the Three of Swords. Man, oh man. You know, and what I feel like, first of all, with this being in the present moment, I don't think that, you know, this is something that you're not aware of. You know, because sometimes they look at this position as the hidden factors, right? But the Three of Swords. When you're looking at the Hierophant, absolutely, it can be trying to come to terms with a really difficult and heartbreaking situation, forgiveness, right? Now, with the Nine of Wands, you know, I can understand. Like, oh my goodness, I can so understand, you know, for some of you. I worry, though, that, you know, right now you're struggling. You're struggling with accepting, you know, a situation for what it is, right? Like a heartbreaking situation. And I say that because you come out with the World, which means that we get closure on this, you know, or you're moving toward closure. But I think you already know what this is about. Whatever heartbreaking situation that you're dealing with, you know, and again, commitment with the Hierophant. It may be an abrupt end to one commitment and the beginning of a new one for you, right? You know, for some of you, if you're ending relationships or ending marriages, and I hate saying that, I fucking hate saying that. I really do think that you're going to get the closure that you need, but there's a need to, you know, be excited about your life. Now, on the other hand, you know, like I said, right? It may be that, you know, you're still like dealing with the energy of this and it's just affecting you in your environment and you're tired of it, right? It's like you're almost done with it. It's almost over with. Now, your hopes and your fears, the Queen of Pentacles, you know, for some of you, yeah, you could definitely be dealing with an earth sign here with the Queen of Pentacles. You know, this is really, though, about, first of all, thinking practically, right? But when I look at the Queen of Pentacles, to me, her, the woman in the Nine of Pentacles, and the Empress are all the same woman. And I've said this before. She is the type of woman who knows what it takes to create comfort in her own life. She does the hard work, you know, she busts her ass, takes care of her home, very in tune with nature, in tune with herself and her surroundings. You know, and I really feel like this is about you. This is about you. And trying to get to this place where, you know, you feel successful through the hard work that you do, right? But also being practical about, you know, what to expect out of this. You know, I really feel like the worst is over with on this. I just think that some of you are still kind of struggling with it. I don't necessarily feel like here you're going to have to deal with any more heartbreak. You know, again, it's not future conditions, it's what's in the environment. So, you know, it could be the clarifier here for, you know, what you're dealing with the Nine of Wands. But it all stems back to that. You know, but anyway, the Queen of Pentacles, though, you know, I feel more so that that's you. I really do. And your ability to create stability in your life is what's going to be most important. And it's like, you know, a new sense of confidence almost in yourself. Now, coming out of this, why? Look at the majors lining right up. The Hangman. You know, for some of you, yeah, there is definitely a part about this situation that I don't think that, you know, you're seeing clearly just yet. Like you're looking for that closure. You're looking for that closure right now. Now, the Hangman, right? You're not making any decisions here. You know, there may be more of a situation here that you need to see, you know, before you can actually make any clear-cut decisions to take action. The Ace of Swords, truth and clarity, especially mentally, right? And then you have the Hangman here receiving enlightenment. So, you know, having that mental clarity, but it's really about, you know, what is the truth on how much you're willing to give into a situation. And I say that a lot with the Six of Pentacles. Now, normally, you know, it's the charity card, right? It could be that, you know, you're needing to be charitable, but I don't think that's it because we're looking at the Two of Cups here. So it's all about the equal give and take within a relationship for some of you. You know, so how much are you willing to give to this relationship, right? There may be a truth that like is revealed to you here. It's like you receive that enlightenment and you get that truth that you need, which helps you like build back into a relationship where there may have been, you know, a heartbreaking situation. The Two of Cups is really about coming together. It is the emotional connection between two people, right? Now, definitely for some of you, you may be getting closure on a relationship, you know, that may have been like abruptly cut short here, you know. But I still think that Queen of Pentacles is really about you and your ability to, you know, do what you have to create stability in your life. That's what you're hoping to be able to do, you know. And again, with the Page of Wands, like needing to move forward with excitement, you know, and having a passion. But then again, I go back to that whole, you know, maybe getting some good news here, and it may have to do with this. You know what I mean? As soon as you release yourself from one situation, you know, that clarity may come to you and you may be willing to put into another relationship, possibly. And then healing. Wow. Yes. Yes. Especially with this here. So play, right? You got to take time out from all the bullshit that you deal with day to day and play. Have some fun, right? Life is too short. You know, I say it all the time. We don't have a lot of time in the meat suit, right? So give yourself some time to play. But, you know, wisdom, right? It's almost like having the wisdom to know that that play is going to bring about healing for you, is what I want to say. You know, but healing, that is what I like seeing, especially with this being in your environment. But let's take a look at Whispers of Love and see what messages there are for you guys in terms of love and relationships here. But I feel like with that Two of Cups here, that, you know, because of the world being connected to this, you're talking about closure. The Hangman is bound to a situation here that he needs to get clarity on how to get out of. You have a truth here. You have this give and take. And then you also have that give and take here within a relationship. Choose love. And I've been seeing this one a lot. That seems to be like the major message for almost everybody. Choose love. You always have a choice as to what you should do. There you go. Pisces, something abrupt has happened in the past. I think a lot of you are tired of dealing with, you know, the difficulty of this situation and it being heartbreaking, right? But I'm telling you, there's a reason why you need to be enthusiastic here. You're going to get closure on this situation, and you're lining straight up here to you being able to get some enlightenment and some mental clarity. And then possibly start giving to a new relationship for some of you, or giving into a relationship that you know, may have had a lot of difficulty in. Either way, you know, I feel like with the Hangman, it's just about you, you know, getting yourself unbound from this situation, right? And getting that clarity. But I'm telling you, right? The Two of Cups coming out of this, and then seeing spiritual connection, that's a pretty powerful relationship. But definitely, you guys, no matter what you've been through, be enthusiastic. Be enthusiastic and excited about what's coming. All right, Pisces, so the way that I feel about these two is I think that the only mistake that you made was thinking that you didn't have any power in the moment. Your life is happening right now, not tomorrow, right now. That is where your power is. And I'm telling you, I don't think that you've made any other mistakes. Now, as far as the Hierophant being front and center here, you know, it is about commitments. It's about traditions, right? There's so many different things that I feel about this, but I also feel like there's a better understanding. You know, now for some of you, I'm looking at the progression lined up here, and it could definitely be talking about the abrupt changes happening within a relationship that are heartbreaking, which could mean breakups or possibly divorce, and I fucking hate saying that. Now, what's weird though is the way it comes back around. So for some of you, there may be some abrupt shit happening, you know, and I feel like with these two, you're definitely wore out. right? Like we're wore out, we're tired of dealing with this, which I can totally understand. But I feel like the way that this is coming out is, first of all, you're getting major closure. But then with the Hangman, you know, it's all about you getting yourself unbound from this situation, right? And getting that enlightenment and that clarity and being able to see the different perspective, right? Now with the Ace of Swords, you're definitely getting that, but I think that that truth that's coming through is about you needing to put the effort in here into a relationship for some of you. So it's almost like we've dealt with a really difficult time within a relationship, but now it's swinging back around for some of you. You know, you could be really looking at forgiveness, right? For some of you, I think this is totally new. And it's all about whether or not you are going to accept that, you know, a situation is over looking at these two. But I think you do, because you get this major closure here, but it opens the door for another relationship possibly. Now, and you know, good news and exciting news coming through. And again, it's all about you moving forward with enthusiasm and passion. And I really do think that this is about you and being able to, you know, maintain stability. You know, I really think it's about you feeling confident in yourself, in being able to maintain the comfort within your life. And that's basically that. Now, as far as if we're looking at a person, it's about whether or not this person is dependable, or whether or not they can depend on you. Now, as far as the soul trees go, play, wisdom, and healing, right? Your wisdom is knowing that you got to give yourself some time to play here to do some healing. And again, healing, right? Maybe coming to a place of forgiveness. But one of the things that I like about this, and I don't get to see this one a lot, and I saw it twice this week. So spiritual connection and then choose love, you know? And then you have the Two of Cups. Like, really? You know? Like, I feel like I don't even need to say anything there. But Pisces, coming out of this, I think that you're going to receive, like, you know, again, that new perspective, this enlightenment here. And it may have to do with a relationship for some of you.